We can hear. All right. I think I should. Let's see. I want to make sure that I've got to get a woman in here. Make sure that it's balanced. All right. This young lady right there.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're honored to have you here today. I'm Joyce Ravis from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. I work at Cellguard. We have wonderful CEOs that take care of us and have really helped the company grow. My question is, though, in the economy times that we have now, is it a wise decision to add more taxes to us with the health care? Because we are overtaxed as it is.
Well, let's talk about that. Because this is an area where there's been just a whole lot of misinformation. And I'm going to have to work hard over the next several months to clean up a lot of the misapprehensions that people have. Here's the bottom line. Number one is that we have been up until last week, the only advanced country that allows 15 million of its citizens to not have any health insurance, and the vast majority of those folks work. It's just that they don't happen to work for a company that is either big enough or generous enough to provide them any coverage. So that's point number one. There is a moral imperative that is important. Number two, you don't know who might end up being in that situation. See, those of us who have health care right now ask ourselves, well, is this something that should be a priority right now? But anybody here who lost their job and then COBRA ran out, or COBRA wasn't subsidized the way the Recovery Act made sure COBRA paid 65% of the cost of COBRA, and if you had somebody at home who was sick or you had a child who got sick, you'd suddenly say to yourself, well, now I see the need. And so part of what we have to do is always say to ourselves, there, but for the grace of God go I, and have a basic safety net. So that's point number two. Point number three is that the way insurance companies have been operating, even if you've got health insurance, you don't always know what you got. Because what has been increasingly the practice is that if you're not lucky enough to work for a big company that is a big pool, this essentially is almost a self-insurer, then what's happening is that you're going out on the marketplace, you may be buying insurance, you think you're covered, but then when you get sick, they decide to drop the insurance right when you need it. Or when you get sick, they try to find what's they consider to be a pre-existing condition that would justify them canceling your policy. Or there's some fine print in there where you've got a lifetime limit, and it turns out you thought you had coverage, but it turns out the coverage only goes up to a certain point, and then afterwards you have to start paying out of pocket. And even after paying all those premiums, you're now in the hole for $100,000 or $200,000, and you're going bankrupt or losing your house. And the final point is that the costs of health care, setting aside anything we did in reform, I mean, if we just allowed the current trajectory to go on, is out of control. Now, I haven't talked to Bob about what his costs are looking like for Cellguard employees, but I can tell you that health care costs have gone up. The price of health care has gone up 3 times faster than wages. So either the company is having to swallow those costs, which means that's less money that they could use for hiring new workers or investing in new plants and equipment, or they're passing on those costs to their employees in the form of higher premiums, higher deductibles, higher copayments. And what's happening federally is because the costs are so out of control, all the programs that we already have, Medicare, Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, all those things are completely out of control. So if you're concerned about the deficit, what you're really concerned about is the cost of Medicare, Medicaid, and all the other programs that are already in place. So here's what we did. What we said is, number one, we'll have the basic principle that everybody gets coverage. And the way we're going to do that is to say that most people individually shouldn't buy health insurance on their own because they have no leverage and the insurance companies take advantage of it. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a big pool, a marketplace, that allows everybody to buy into this pool that members of Congress, by the way, will be a part of, so you know it's going to be a good deal. Because members of Congress, you know, they've got to look out for their own families. They wouldn't vote for it if